of the biggest things that comes up for people, particularly those that I'm working with who are dealing with addictive and compulsive coping mechanisms, is that I feel like my life has no meaning. That's 9 times out of 10 because the addictive lifestyle that people have been living, the lifestyle that's got a lot of chaos and rigidity around the different things that are happening inside of our world, is completely contrary to the values and belief system. That most people have a very similar set of values that remain the same the entire time. Yeah, absolutely. So whenever you're trying to make any kind of behavior change, it's really important that you start to build a solid foundation underneath you that kind of promotes the kind of changes that you're trying to make. I always remember somebody saying to me really early on in my own recovery journey, I was probably 2 or 3 months into sobriety and sitting down with people that were trying to help me through the early emotional chaos that I was in, saying to me, listen, your life, you're always going to achieve in your life what your lifestyle's got you set up to achieve. So one of the things that I try to do with people that I work with, and one of the things that I try to do with myself is set up a really good foundation for what's going to promote that behavior change that I'm looking for. And there's some fundamental pillars that we're going to get into in the conversation today that revolve around support network and structure and schedule, as well as diet and exercise and things like that. But basically what we're trying to do is create this way of living that allows you to deal with these emotional reactions when they come up for you, that allows you to start to build awareness and start to put some of the skills in place to deal with things so that you can cope with that emotional overwhelm before you start getting into some of the other stuff that's underneath the surface. Because if you jump straight into the emotional stuff that's attached to all the different schemas and modes that we talked about in the last conversation, without having this foundation underneath you, things can get pretty ugly really quickly and the wheels can come off. So it's important to get this foundation sorted out before you do anything.
Yeah, and one of the things I think I'd like to start with that I didn't get a chance to ask you in the first episode is really your core belief system, your values that you have as a human being that you've learned. These are all inherently learned that you pick up along the way. An unmet expectation on my side is going to come from a belief of how I think it should have gone. How I think that person should have been kinder or nicer, or what they should have said or what they could have said differently as well. And that comes from my value system, my belief system, my education, my upbringing, my manners, all these things as well. And obviously there's 8 billion people in the world that have 8 billion different learning styles and, different upbringings and educations. And I always like to think that if there is a God up there that you could quantify and he's looking down on us as a deity, if he's just not up there just laughing his ass off. There it is. Hey, Jimmy, come over here and have a look at this one. This one's going to get pretty excited right now. And it's like he's got an ongoing YouTube channel of just watching personalities like connect, disconnect, fight, laugh, all the dynamics that we have that are starting from our values and belief systems.
Yeah, 100%. So values and beliefs kind of underpin absolutely everything we do. It's when I start working with people in a one-on-one capacity, once we start to build awareness for what's happening in the personality. So, what are your schemas? What are your modes? What are the things that are going on? The next thing that we take is your values and your beliefs, because if you're living a life that is lined up with your own particular values and beliefs, then you're living a life that has meaning, because you're taking on things that have meaning, which means you're giving your life direction. And one of the biggest things that comes up for people, particularly those that I'm working with who are dealing with addictive and compulsive coping mechanisms, is that I feel like my life has no meaning. That's 9 times out of 10 because the addictive lifestyle that people have been living, the lifestyle that's got a lot of chaos and rigidity around the different things that are happening inside of our world, is completely contrary to the values and belief system that's inside of all of us. So we start off basically by looking at what values you have kind of innately in your system. I don't think that it's exactly like right across the board. There's a number of different schools of thoughts on this, but I tend to find that most people have a very similar set of values that remain the same the entire time, right the way through life. And what changes is your belief structure that goes inside of those values. And predominantly these values seem to revolve around things like safety, honesty, respect, loyalty, and integrity. So I kind of start the conversation from an understanding that those 5 core values seem to be present in almost everybody. And there's some of the values that kind of go underneath them, as underneath the umbrella of each one. But then your belief structure that kind of shows you how you're going to live those values out in your life is really dependent on what you were taught when you were a kid, what your cultural background is, where you were raised, the things that you were told, like from country to country. Your beliefs can change like constantly all the time, and your beliefs are fluid throughout the entire period of time that you're on this planet. So what I believe right now that's going to manifest from my values might be different tomorrow based on some new information that comes my way.
Yeah. I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about your values, your belief system, because obviously they're learned.
Yeah.
And it's taken me a long time to unlearn a lot of the things that just didn't work for me, but I just didn't know any other way because it was what I knew.
Exactly.
And then when I got to the point where I was thinking to myself, my brain thinks the unknown is scary.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't know that, it almost seems like it's an impenetrable wall.
Right.
And I couldn't get beyond that way. Give you an example. When I was reading the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, one of the Four Agreements is not take things personally. Something I really struggle with. I still struggle with, like day-to-day basis. It is as a highly sensitive person. That's something that really is a trigger for me. I listened to this tape. It was a cassette tape, so I'm dating myself. I started driving from Toronto to LA. I did it in 2 days. I slept 6 hours in 2 days. And the whole way there, I listened to this tape. So call it 40 hours. And at the end of LA, I'm so thick-headed, I still didn't understand how not to take it personally. I knew I shouldn't, but I didn't understand how. Now, when I started doing the cognitive work as well, and I went back and listened to it again, I laughed at myself because it was just like, he says so many times how not to take these things personally, but I couldn't unlearn what I was stuck in that moment of letting go of what I knew, which didn't work. And I had a big laugh about it as well. So unlearning that to me was a huge point. How do you work through these things that we all have inherent behaviors that we know we can't let go of, or that we should let go of, but knowing makes no difference. We still cling to them like they're our firstborn. So our values and our belief systems, like, just talk a little bit about how powerful they are, and then being able to release that as well.
Yeah, there's so many ways that this manifests for people in their behavior patterns every single day. Just recognizing that beliefs are things that really come from those childhood experiences that we talked about in the last conversation, that formulate these stories that we've got, and then your beliefs are sitting inside of those stories. And 9 times out of 10, the beliefs that we've got that are attached to particular emotional responses are very different to the beliefs that we've got when we're not in those emotional states. So what we're trying to do when we're trying to build an understanding of what your core fundamental values and beliefs are, is we start looking at 10 different domains inside of your life that might be important to you. And we kind of grade where you are in your life right now, and which ones of these domains are more important for you. So they start with things like intimate relationships and partnerships. They start with family relationships, friends. They start with parenting. They get into, we talk about spirituality, whether that's important to you, your physical health and well-being, your work and school and vocational aspect of things. And we start to grade in your life what in your life is important. Then inside of those particular areas, we want to ask you, how do these particular values manifest for you? So let's just say we're talking about intimate partnerships with your partner. And we're asking ourselves, like, how does honesty come out for you in that particular domain? Because we're looking at those 5 that I mentioned before. So if honesty is something that I value in my intimate relationships, how do I be honest? What does it look like when I'm being honest? And this is what will formulate what your core beliefs are inside of your life when you're in a healthy emotional state. So if I value honesty in a relationship, and I value integrity in a relationship, if I value respect in the relationship, what does it look like for me to be honest? What does it look like for me to be respectful? And what does it look like for me to have integrity? Right. So once I start to figure out what those things are, I'm really starting to get to grips with what my core values and beliefs are. Now this will highlight when those negative core beliefs are getting activated, because there's a different schema in my system that a part of my personality is reacting to. Hey guys, first of all, I want to thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed the content. This particular chat was filmed as a part of the podcast series to support my good friend, Chuck Basti, and all the work he does as a mental health advocate at Chuck's World of Infinite Mojo. If you want to see the full podcast or just see more of what Chuck does on his social media platform, check out his YouTube channel that's linked in the description below. When it comes to what's going on here, I am on a serious mission to make this platform profitable. Why? Because when I do, I am committed to making sure that every single penny of profit that's made from this YouTube channel goes back into serving the community that needs it most. So, as always, please like this video, leave a comment below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel to get all the latest content available right here at The Liberation Place. Come join us for our live online conversations every week. I'll put all the links in the description below, and let's get the word out there about living the life you want to live, not staying stuck in the life you're currently stuck in. Hopefully, see you soon.